So I've noticed a couple of improvements in this version. For one, the display is rendering objects and vehicles much further out than it did before. I haven't been able to determine if it's responding to them out there or just rendering them, but I assume that if it's rendering it, it would respond to it. So that is improved. The turns are much smoother, so that's an improvement. The one thing that I've noticed hasn't improved, and there's a couple of these on this trip, is that if there's an open lane and turn lane for turning off or turning on to the road you're on, the car still wants to get over there. So that's still an issue. The other improvement is it tends to not stop or slow down significantly before stops like it used to. It used to stop way too early and creep. It doesn't do that anymore. It pulls up to the stop and stops fairly normal. It also appears to have fixed some of the phantom braking for shadows in the road, which is nice. The one that I've noticed that is not improved is on roads with turns like right here. If a car suddenly appears coming the other way, it seems to have difficulty determining if that is a problem or if that car is in its own lane and is not a problem. So as you come around a turn or the other vehicle coming the other way comes around the turn, it seems to react first as that vehicle is in the way and will brake, and then realizes, oh wait a minute, that vehicle is on its own side of the road, so it's okay. So I'm not sure if that's a processing speed issue or what, but it reacts to the vehicle first and then determines, oh wait, it's on the right side of the road, so go ahead. So definitely some really nice improvements, and a few things really need to be worked on still. So there's a good example of stopping in a fairly normal stop, as opposed to stopping way back and then crawling up to the stop sign or the stop line. So a much smoother turn, much more normal turn with a lot less jerking as it tries to sort its way around. This is one of the roads that has several of the added lanes for leaving and entering the traveled portion of the road, and each time the vehicle seems to want to go over into that added right lane, and when the lane runs out, it comes back. So we'll see what it does this time. So if you notice on the display, you'll see that these vehicles approaching are rendering much further out than they did before, or at least it appears to me that they are. That's interesting. I thought that sign was a vehicle. So as far as the added lanes on the right, if you're fairly close behind a vehicle in front of you, it seems to follow that vehicle and not go over into the right lane. However, if there's no one close to you in front of you, it will go over. So here's a good example. It started to go over, it saw the dotted line, so it came back. If that dotted line or solid line for that added right lane does not start fairly soon, the car continually wants to go over there. Now I do have stay in the right lane turned on. I haven't tried it with that turned off. I may do that in the next drive. So this one here usually works out because it can see that line on the hill, and it works out well. The one after this, I believe, is the one that really or the two after this it struggles with. So here we go, it's struggling. It would have gone over in that lane because that other truck was going to turn. I didn't want to do that and confuse him. So that's something that still needs to be fixed. It's really unnerving for the people behind you. They think that you're pulling off to turn, and then you jump back in. So if you look at this vehicle here, is quite a ways further out than they have rendered in the past. So that's really, I think, a nice positive. That's probably a good quarter of a mile in front of me, which is nice. Now hopefully it will respond to those. GoPro, stop recording. Okay, so we just stopped in the middle of the road for no reason. I have no idea. Okay. What that was all about. That was very strange. There was nothing in front of me. There was no lights, and we just stopped. Right, so we have another interesting little turn up here. This is a 2-lane left turn. The car usually wants to make the turn from the left of the 2 left lanes, which means that it will see the other car turning across in front of it. And sometimes it does not like that. It does not understand why that vehicle is there and will stop, or else it will make the left turn and center itself in the road, which means it cuts off the vehicle that's on the right making the left turn. There is no line. It's a 2-lane wide road that merges, and it just centers itself in the 2 lanes. see what happens with this version.
Now turn left to take the US 50 East ramp.
Okay, so we're going to go in the leftmost of these two lanes. All right, I wasn't comfortable with that, so I took over. It may have made it